It actually makes me really excited to be here today in such an interesting symposium about alternative publishing practices. As someone who's maybe in the more mainstream field of publishing, you know, my guests here today are actually more in the alternative or periphery. So I'm very happy to be here today. I'm gonna introduce everyone, and then we'll have short 10-minute presentations for each, and then I'll have some questions that I've prepared for all of you, and then we can open it up to the audience. So to start, the title of this lecture or presentation is Reaching the Public, but it's very important to take into account that we're not just looking at how can we better access certain audiences, but also who are we accessing, because everyone who's here today is quite niche, I would say, in terms of the kinds of books that are being produced or the kinds of distribution channels that are being promoted. So to start with Noora Al Mualla, right? From the Sharjah Art Foundation, who is curator and director of learning and research, and you'll be talking mostly about the Focal Point Art Fair, which just began last year, so it was the second edition this year. And then we will move on to Craig Mathis, who is the bookstore and distribution manager for Printed Matter, which is currently the largest non-profit organization that's dedicated to artist books and others as well, like zines and rare out-of-print editions. Actually, it was started by Lucy Lippard, Saul Lewitt, and some other quite famous artists in New York in the 1970s who were looking at artist books as an artistic medium. So I'm very happy to have you here with us, Craig. And third, Tamer Said, who is managing director of Kalimat, which started in 2007, primarily with publishing children's books, but it's kind of expanded into more adult forms of literature and storytelling. And finally, Sylvie Boulanger, who's director of Cneai, Centre d'Art Grand Parisien, which is a non-profit organization that does many things, research, books, digital platforms, and it's known for its out-of-the-box kind of programming. So I'm not going to keep you much longer. Let's start with Noora.
Okay, is this right? It's working? Okay. Thank you for inviting me to be with you here today. So I'm from the Sharjah Art Foundation. The Sharjah Art Foundation is a non-profit government organization that supports art and artists and cultural exchange in the region. Our core initiatives is, of course, the Sharjah Biennial, our annual March meeting, in addition to exhibitions, residencies, grants, research from the music programs. Talk about the Focal Point. So the Focal Point is an alternative book fair that we initiated last year. The main goal of having this book fair is that we saw a gap when it comes to art books specifically. So we serve as a platform for independent publishers, for smaller projects, initiatives, which usually get lost in bigger book fairs. At the same time, we wanted to move away from the commercial sides of book fairs. So for our second year, our focus, every year we have a different theme or focus. For the past year, we had comics and zines. In parallel with the book fair, we had educational workshops, book launches, and different educational events. Also, in parallel to Focal Point, we have a publishing grant. This past year, we had our first one, which we announced. The grant usually goes to independent publishers or different or bookmaking initiatives focused in the region. Our grantees last year were Ma'azif, and we're going to announce our next grant soon. We also produced our first comic book at SAF Corniche, which was focused on locally based comic makers. In terms of our publications, we have different focuses. Our main focus is exhibition catalogs, of course. We also have different monograph series. We started a monograph series with a monograph for We have a monograph for Zainab Sidira. We have one upcoming for Hassan Sharif, which we are launching at the end of the month with his exhibition in Berlin. We're also planning to have more in the series of monographs. We also have artist books. In terms of publications, we find that it's an opportunity to have different collaborations with different institutions. So those are our exhibitions booklets. Maybe you saw some of them in the exhibition outside. هادوت بالعربي, which was an interactive project that we had at SAF, and we had a book published alongside. This is one of our artists' books. And Wael Shawki, which was in collaboration with the Serpentine Gallery. Ibrahim Salahi's Prison Diaries, which was in collaboration with MoMA. This is an example of international collaboration which we had. And our monograph series, of course. So this is a brief introduction to what we do at SAF.
Okay, great. I think what I'll do is I'll ask questions while you finish the... so first of all, I wanted us to go back to the artist books that you mentioned, because there is a key distinction. I mean, artist books developed as books that are not about artists but by artists, but here you can see their collaborations, right? So maybe you can tell me more about the conversations that develop between the artist and the institution when you're actually producing these books.
With Ibrahim Salahi specifically, we had an exhibition for his first retrospective in Sharjah years ago, and the Prison Diary specifically is a project that was very significant to Ibrahim Salahi, and we felt that we needed more than just to exhibit it as an artwork. Mm-hmm. So, and he saw it itself as a book that he wanted to share, and in the exhibition itself, you understand the idea of the book itself, but the content, flipping through the content and knowing the content itself is something that we saw deserves a book on its own, and you get to know the artist more through that. And we had a collaboration with MoMA, who also work with the artist, and it became a publication on its own.
And then, for example, the one with Wael Shawki, I think I read that he chose who he was going to collaborate with, right? The writer. Mm-hmm. So it was like a creative endeavor between an artist and a writer, mm-hmm. a fiction writer. Yes. So, like, how are these commissioned by SAF? That's basically my question.
At SAF, generally, the way we work, we're an institution which is very experimental. We work very closely with the artists. We don't have a very rigid system in terms of how we work, but we're very close to the artist and to the writer. So it's always based, things like these books come out of a conversation that the curator or the artist has with different researchers and publishers in the region or internationally. And this is one of the examples that came. I mean, Wael Shawki is an artist who we always work with at SAF, and we understand the depth of his work, and he also has an understanding of what he expects from a writer that he's comfortable with. So the system we work in our publications department specifically is a very flexible, experimental one. Mm. So I feel like with the publishing department specifically, we're always open to different collaborations with different people.
Yeah, that's the key point, that it feels like it's quite collective and less individual, independent in terms of what you're kind of producing. The last question I have before we move on is, what exactly was it in the research that you did and the audience that you're targeting at Focal Point that made you realize there's a need for it? Because there's no art book fair in the UAE, as far as I know, not art books at least. So what was it exactly, and how does the audience differ, if you've done some stats so far, from the people who come to biennials? I'm sure it's quite different, actually.
It's quite different, but very, very similar at the same time. Our audience specifically for the art book fair range between people from the community and at the same time scholars, art practitioners, and people who do see a need for a platform for art book fairs. So in Sharjah specifically, there is already this healthy infrastructure that supports books and publishing and reading. We have the Sharjah Publishing Free Zone and the Sharjah Book Fair, but at the same time, we don't have a very focused place where you can find all these things at the same place. And at the same time, we wanted to create a platform which moves away from the commercial side of publishing, sure. And at the same time focuses more on the North Africa and Middle East region and the global south, the whole region that we are in.
Yeah, the global south, because the last time there was a lot of, like the Asia Art Archive was there, a lot of interesting artists from Pakistan and different places in the wider region. But regarding the non-profit aspect, they do pay for the, right? Like they don't pay. And so they're just selling and they're just proceeding. Okay, so it's non-profit. All right, great. Tamer, over to you.
Okay, I'm going to talk in Arabic, so if someone would like to use a headset or something. I
think I need that. Are you using that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't have a presentation. ما عنديش presentation أعرضها لكم لأني حسيت إن أكتر النهارده دوري لازم أكون نوعا ما أحاول أتبنى فكرة أو وجهة النظر ما بين الأسواق الصغيرة والكوميونيتيز الصغيرة ودار النشر الكبيرة اللي بتفكر بسكيل أكبر وإن هي توصل لجمهور كبير من القراء. وفي نفس الوقت أشارك معاكم تجربتنا على مدار ال 12 سنة اللي فاتت في مجموعة كلمات. زي ما نادين قالت إحنا بدأنا دار نشر أطفال في 2007. وكان هدفنا ان احنا نقدم افضل كتاب من ناحيه النص والرسوم وكذلك الاخراج الفني والبرودكشن بتاعه. في فتره قليله اسمنا اتعرف، بدانا نجذب كتاب ورسامين، وان كان لينا بعض التوجهات في الخلط ما بين الادب المكتوب باللغه العربيه للاطفال وفي نفس الوقت يكون الرسم واخد طابع شويه من منطقه غير المنطقه العربيه. فبنتعاون كتير مع رسامين اجانب. ده قادنا في طريقه ما من مدرسين لما بدانا نخش الحركه التعليميه ان كان دايما يجي لنا نقد ايجابي بان الكتب بتاعتنا حلوه، بتقدم افكار جديده، بتتعامل مع النص بشكل جديد بعيدنا عن فكره كان يا مكان او بدايه القصه اللي دايما تبدا بكان يا مكان والقصه اللي دايما تنتهي خلينا نقول بالحلول المثاليه. يعني في معظم كتابنا مش هنلاقي البرنس تشارمي في الكتاب بتاعنا، عادي احنا بنتكلم عن كل حاجه في كتب الاطفال بتاعتنا. عندنا كتب عن امراض، عندنا كتب عن الموت، عندنا كتب عن الطلاق، بس متعالجه بشكل يتناسب مع الاطفال. فكان دايما يتقال لنا ان احنا مش قادرين نستخدمها في الصف الدراسي لان هي ما بتقدمش محتوى كامل او خلينا نقول منهج كامل. فهنا بدأنا دار نشر تانية اسمها حروف تحت المجموعة، وتحولت المجموعة أو كلمات لمجموعة كلمات، وفضلنا محتفظين باسم كلمات البداية لأنه كتير عزيز على قلبنا. حروف توجهت بشكل تاني خالص في النشر، بقت متوجهة أكتر للحركة التعليمية. بندرس المناهج اللي موجودة في المنطقة بتاعتنا منطقة الخليج، وبنعمل زي supplementary materials يقدر المدرس أو المدرسة يستخدموها في الصف الدراسي يخدموا بيها العملية التعليمية داخل الصف. في حروف فكرنا شوية بشكل مختلف. بدأنا الديجيتال قبل البرينتد اديشن، لان كان دايما بتواجهنا صعوبه في كلمات لما نيجي نحاول نوصل لجمهور اكبر في مكان في منطقه جغرافيه مش موجوده قريبه مننا. وهنا اعتقد ان هي ليها علاقه بالسبجكت بتاع النهارده، ان احنا نوصل للجمهور او ازاي نوسع شبكه التوزيع عندنا. ان الالستريشن او كتاب لازم بيبقى معمول بشكل معين او بطريقه معينه. فخدنا ده في الحسبان مع حروف. الحمد لله قدرنا نوصل لقاعده جماهيريه كبيره، وان كان الفوكس بتاعنا دلوقتي في الامارات نظرا لارتباطنا بمشاريع معينه مع جهات معينه، ولكن ده وفر لنا برضو خلينا نقول الشجاعه ان احنا نبدا دار نشر ثالثه اللي هي روايات. من اسمها هي بتنشر الرواية، بس خدت اتجاه مختلف تماما لرواية حديثة أو خلينا نقول controversial fiction. حسينا ان شوية هيبقى في بدايتنا المنافسة مع دور النشر الكبيرة اللي اوريدي عندها علاقات طويلة مع كتاب هتبقى صعبة، فاتجهنا للرواية المترجمة، واتجهنا للرواية المترجمة اللي مش كتير بيترجموها. كان عندنا من الشجاعة الكافية ونظرا حتى لقوانين الرقابة المختلفة ان احنا ننشر كتب ممكن تثير الجدل. عملنا جوفانيز روم، هاميت's تيل، عندنا كتاب عرب برضو كتابهم اتشالت من أسواق كاملة زي بدرية البشر، زي قراءة الخميس، ولكن قدرنا الحمد لله نوصل لقاعدة كبيرة. ودلوقتي بقى عندنا في روايات، بدأنا روايات في 2015 في 2017، والنهارده 2020 عندنا أكتر من 150 عنوان داخل القائمة بتاعتنا. دار النشر رابعة هي كانت كوميكس، وبرضه باينه من اسمها بنتجه للجرافيك نوفلز والكوميكس والمانجا، لان في عزوف شويه عنها في العالم العربي. ولما سالنا حوالينا كان العزوف ان مفيش مقدره ماليه على انتاج كوميكس بشكل كبير وتسويقها، فتوجهنا لده. ما عندناش لسه اسهامات فيها كتيره، كل القائمه بتاعتنا في سنتين بس هم 12 كتاب، ولكن في خطه انتاجيه كبيره. في نفس الوقت عندنا حاجة أو ديبارتمنت داخل الشركة اسمه كلمات انترناشونال، ده اللي احنا بنعمل فيه كل شراكاتنا الدولية. جينا بفكرة بروبوزل ان احنا نقدر نتواصل مع دور نشر كبيرة ونتبادل معاهم حقوق الملكية الفكرية بتاعتهم، سواء من الالتزام بعدد معين في السنة ما بيننا وما بينهم بشكل متوازن وبشكل يخدم الطرفين، أو من خلال إنشاء شراكة مالية وإنشاء شركة كاملة منفصلة بيزد سواء على الكونتنت بتاعنا أو المحتوى اللي احنا بننتجه أو المحتوى اللي هم بينتجوه. وعندنا في الشراكات دي 4 شراكات، 2 في إنجلترا، واحدة في إيطاليا، واحدة في فرنسا. فده بشكل عام الاكتيفيتيز بتاعت كلمات جروب في ال 12 سنه اللي فاتت. بس طبعا زينا زي معظم الناشرين او معظم خلينا نقول اللي بينتجوا محتوى، بنقابل مشاكل في التوزيع. كل الناس بتبص للعالم العربي انه منطقه واحده، ولكن احنا كناشرين بنتعامل كل يوم مع 22 قانون مختلف. احنا كلنا بنقرا لغه واحده ولكن بنتكلم لهجات مختلفه، وعندنا اهتمامات مختلفه داخل كل دوله حتى من منطقه لمنطقه. فكناشر عربي بحاول اوصل المحتوى اللي بنتجه، لازم اتعامل مع ال 22 قانون للمطبوعات، لازم اتعامل مع 22 جهه مختلفه فيما يخص ايه المسموح بيه وايه اللي مش مسموح بيه. لازم اتعامل مع اسواق القوى الشرائيه فيها مختلفه، لازم اتعامل مع محلات كتب بتقفل وماني كوليكشن ما بيحصلش. وهنا عندنا قصه بسيطه فيما يخص الكتاب. احنا عندنا اعتقد دلوقتي في اصداراتنا اكتر من 1000 عنوان، ما بين 450 للاطفال، حوالي 250 تعليمي، 150 هنا، يعني حوالي 25% منهم موجود بشكل إلكتروني بشكل صوتي، وكله برودكشن بتاعنا احنا اللي عاملينه. فكان دايما في عندنا كومنت بيجي لنا احنا مش قادرين نلاقي كتابكم كلها. فبما ان 2016 كانت سنه ناجحه جدا عندنا، قررنا نفتح مكتبه صغيره ونسميها مكتبه في القصبه. احنا مكاتبنا في القصبه في الشارقه، ومكتبة فتحت واشتغلت سنة ونص، ولكن انتهى بها الحال ان احنا اضطرينا نقفلها لان اصبحت عبء مالي كبير على البروفيت اند لوس شيت بتاعنا. ولكن بعد كده بعد ما قفلناها كل الناس زعلت، وليه قفلتوا مكتبة وحرام المكان كنا بنيجي نقرا فيه. فكان هنا دايما عندي سؤال، لما انت كنت عايز مكتبة وحاببها كبابليك او كمتجه للكتاب او حابب للمحتوى، ليه ما ساهمتش في ان مكتبة تكمل، في انك بدل ما تيجي تقرا الكتاب لا تيجي تقرا الكتاب وتشتريه؟ وهي دي النقطة اللي انا عايز اوصل لها هنا. امتى نقول ان الكتاب او المحتوى نجح انه وصل للبابليك؟ لما بس يتنشر، وده سؤال طرحناه امبارح في الجلسات المغلقة، ولا لما يتنشر ويبقى موجود على الرف ويجي حد ويساهم في عملية إنتاج الكتاب، في إنه يشتريه، يبقى فيه مقابل مادي انه يشتريه. مش عايز اخش في ديبيت الثقافه والتعليم والكتاب لازم يتوفر بارخص الاسعار، لان ده ديبيت طويل وممكن نقعد فيه ساعات يعني. ولكن اعتقد ان احنا محتاجين نجاوب على السؤال ده. خلينا نقول ايه مجموعه الانشطه اللي محتاجين نعملها عشان نبدا نخلق sustainable business، او يجذب قراء، يجذب كرييترز، كتاب، رسامين، ويخليهم فاضيين للعملية الإبداعية اللي بيعملوها. وفي نفس الوقت يخلق صناعة، لأن احنا سمر موجودة وأنا موجود ومقتنعين تماما إن مفيش حاجة اسمها صناعة كتاب عربي لسه. نخلق صناعة جاذبة للمواهب. إمتى هنشوف النشر بيتدرس في الجامعات؟ وكان في محاولة هنا في أبو ظبي من السوربون اعتقد من كام سنه. امتى هنلاقي الكرييتيف رايتنج جزء من العمليه التعليميه اللي بتحصل؟ امتى هنشوف كل الامور دي عشان نخلق اجيال قارئه؟ ويمكن هفضل ارجع للمنطقه بتاعه الاطفال، لاني بشوف ان هي دي المنطقه اللي احنا نقدر لسه نعمل فيها استثمارات. امتى هنشوف كل ده عشان نخلق بعد فتره صناعه كتاب ونشر جيده في العالم العربي؟
شكرا تامر. هو السؤالات كتير مهمين. أنا بس عندي سؤال واحد لأنه الوقت. صار لكم هلأ تقريبا أكثر من 10 سنين بالسوق. شو عم بتشوف مثلا حواليك بغير دار نشر مثلا اللي عم بيعملوا كتب بالعربي، عم بينشروا بالعربي؟ يعني شو المعلومات اللي عم تجيكم؟ لأنه نحن عم نسمع إنه العربي عم بتموت شوي بهالمادة يعني.
معلوماتك صحيحة.
إيه؟
حقيقي.
وبتفكروا مثلا تترجموا للإنجليزي؟ فيكم تبلشوا بالعربي بس تترجموا لغير لغات إنجليزي أو فرنساوي، أو مثلا عم تتعاملوا مع 22 دولة بتقدروا؟
كان هحكي لك قصتنا في الموضوع ده. كان هدفنا لما طلعنا كلمات اتنشأت ان دعم اللغة العربية، لان احنا ما زلنا مقتنعين ان احنا عندنا أدب عربي جيد، ولكن محتاج جهود وراه كتير، جهود من كل الجوانب، من اول القوانين المنظمة لغاية الناشرين وطرق ممارسة المهنة وكل خلينا نقول الاشياء المحيطة عشان نطلع في الاخر منتج عربي جيد. احنا مصدقين ان في منتج عربي جيد، في ادب عربي جيد، في محتوى عربي جيد. فشويه مش عايزين نتجه لفكره ان احنا ننشر باللغه الانجليزيه، وان كان ده واحده من خططنا في المستقبل القريب لما لقينا بدا ان مستوى الكتاب العربي، مبيعات الكتاب العربي تقل. لكن فيما يخص حقوق النشر وبيعها احنا موجودين الحمد لله، يعني بايعين لاكثر من 12 دوله حقوق الملكيه الفكريه لكتابنا. ولكن ده تطلب منا استثمار كبير في الاول، ان احنا نترجم كل الاعمال دي للغه يقدروا يقروها ويفهموا الكتاب من وراها. طلب مننا ان احنا نشارك في كل المعارض الدوليه. احنا بنشارك في خلينا نقول الاكبر 3 دوليين خارج المنطقه العربيه، بولونيا ولندن وفرانكفورت، بالاضافه طبعا ساعات باريس، ساعات المكسيك، البرازيل في مناسبات معينه. والمعارض العربيه لبيع الكتب بنشارك في اكتر من 11 او 12 معرض عربي. ففريق المبيعات عندنا بيطلع من شهر 9 ما بيرجعش المكتب الا في شهر 4 مع نهايه موسم المعارض العربيه اللي هو معرض ابو ظبي. ده تطلب ان احنا نحط جهود واستثمارات كبيره ورا المحتوى ده. لكن هل المحتوى ده بيعمل ريتيرن اوف انفستمنت؟ لغايه دلوقتي لسه. لغايه دلوقتي ما فيش الكتاب العربي. الجانب الاخر دايما عايز السبجكت اللي شويه حساس، شويه ليه علاقه بمنطقتنا العربيه والاسلاموفوبيا والسياسه والانغلاق. فما بيستثمرش كتير في المحتوى ده.
بس كمان اللغه عم تتغير، اللغه العربيه عم
بتتغير، ده حقيقي. فكانت دي جهودنا. وبرضه بنقابل إشكاليات، لأن الشكل الفني للكتاب بتاعنا مش دايما هيتماشى مع الأذواق التانية. فبرضه دي إشكالية أو تحدي. بس احنا شايفين إن احنا الحمد لله قدرنا ننجح في الموضوع ده كويس. واعتقد هنا هيبقى السؤال للأسعار.
أوكي.
لأن افتكرت دلوقتي إن دايما، واتقالت لي امبارح إن ممكن تكون عدم انتشار الكتاب العربي نظرا لأن سعره غالي. في دول فقيرة كتير زي البرازيل، اللي أعتقد إن هي شوية أفقر من الخليج العربي، إحنا لسه بايعين حقوق ترجمة كتاب لينا اسمه يونس من كتابة أمل ناصر. وكان سعر اللي تحدد له $9، يعني حوالي 40 درهم، اللي هم نفس سعر كتابنا باللغة العربية، وده ما تشافش غالي.
أقل من 40.
أقل من 40. $9 يعني حوالي almost 40 درهم، وإحنا متوسط كتابنا 40 درهم. وده السؤال دايما اللي كل ما نشارك في فعالية أو حدث أو ندوة أو مشاركة يقول ليه كتابكم غالي؟ فهنا ببدأ نيجي في ديبيت طب هو أنا عشان أنتج محتوى كويس محتاج كاتب كويس. الكاتب ده مش لازم يبقى عنده وظيفة تانية غير الكتابة عشان يكتب، لا الكاتب، طب الكاتب برضو هيخش في ديبيت معي أنا لازم أبقى مدفوع لي عائدات كويسة. في نفس الوقت تكوميشن إليستريتور برضو ده كوست تاني، تنتج الكتاب بشكل ينافس ده كوست تالت، توجد شركة كاملة بالأوبريشنز بتاعتها ده كوست رابع. فإنك توصل للرقم ده بتوصل بيه بهامش ربح قليل جدا، وأنا أعتقد معظم الناشرين العرب بيشتغلوا بهامش ربح قليل جدا، في حين إن الكتاب الإنجليزي عمرنا ما بنسمع عليه أو باللغة التانية كومنت فيما يخص السعر. يعني بشوف ده في معارض الكتب ان المشتري او المستهلك ما عندوش اي مشكله ان يدفع نفس المبلغ في كتاب مكتوب بلغه غير العربيه، في حين ان عنده اشكاليه انه يدفع نفس المبلغ في كتاب مكتوب بلغته العربيه.
بدأ شويه
شغل بس.
اوكي شكرا. Hi.
Hi. Hello. I got too many devices here. My name is Craig Mathis. I'm the bookstore and distribution manager for Printed Matter in New York City. During the introduction, Printed Matter is a not-for-profit that was founded in 1976 by a consortium of artists to celebrate the distribution of artist books. We've been in 4 different locations in Manhattan. We're in our current one on 26th and 11th Avenue in New York City. It's our biggest location yet. And a lot of what I've heard today, maybe as someone who runs a store and does direct distribution for the books that we publish, perhaps we can have discussions later at dinner about ways to get publications from this region into our store and available around the world. But I'll quickly go through these slides to talk about how, after 30 plus years of existence, how we've tried to address the need to make these publications available and in a public a way as possible. So, yeah. Okay, so just quickly, this is our storefront on 11th Avenue in Manhattan, and for those who've been there, 11th Avenue is about as far west as you can go in the city. We've continued to sort of get pushed out, further and west and wherever, because real estate in Manhattan is expensive, and we sell artist books, which I often think of as a luxury product, because although they may not be expensive, they're something that you can probably live without, but once you come to love them, you cherish them, and as you begin to build your own personal library, they become really a part of your I think identity. They build your education, they grow your visual vocabulary. Just quickly, we opened a smaller satellite store within the Swiss Institute, which is a not-for-profit art space in the East Village, which is a much more heavily trafficked area in Lower Manhattan. And the reason why we did this was to hopefully make the books even more public than our sort of flagship store, in again, the hopes that everyday people, not just sort of arts-specific people that go to Chelsea to visit galleries, may be exposed to. This is the interior of our small satellite store. And perhaps maybe some in the audience have attended one of our art book fairs. Over a dozen years ago, we began a partnership with a few different locations, but for the past probably 10 years, we've been hosting an annual art book fair in MoMA, PS1, their contemporary art space in Long Island City in Queens, which we have upwards of 350 exhibitors from around the world, from self-published zines and risograph publications and silkscreened works and book objects to more established publishing practices, all coming together over the course of 3.5 days to showcase their works. And it's become sort of an annual gathering of people who celebrate artist books and self-published and small press editions, all focused around art. This is our latest booth last September, where Printed Matter, in addition to the exhibitors there, we try and also present unique works outside of all of the other offerings to sort of show the width and breadth of artist book publishing. More recently, we've started an LA art book fair, which is held at the MoCA Geffen, and a similar vein, a different maybe atmosphere. The New York fair is quite hectic and very busy, and there are tons of people, and there are just as many people in LA, but it's a much more relaxed vibe. So yeah, this is one of the interior shots of the LA fair from a few years ago. And so within these fairs, these are probably two of our biggest opportunities throughout the year, where we have thousands of people come over the course of those days and truly be exposed to some of these types of publications for the first time. Just a quick list of small bookstores and design shops and institutional partners that we wholesale books to. So Printed Matter, the bookstore, operates a web and online business where we also, especially for some distributors who prefer to have us or another entity handle their distribution, we do sell on behalf of other publishers to bookstores and shops around the world. I think one of the biggest assets for Printed Matter is that we have an open submission policy. So publishers and artists are welcome to drop off or mail in review copies for consideration for sale in the store. I know one of the artists who had presented before had a screenshot of a bookshop that maybe they've had difficulty, and maybe you've had difficulty entering into partnerships with stores who oftentimes are chasing payment or wonder what happened to the books when you've dropped them off and things like that. I personally take that. It's a huge responsibility for artists who oftentimes pay out of pocket for all of the expenses to produce these books, to then entrust those artworks to us. And so we want to make as seamless and transparent a process as possible. And we also want to be as honest as possible about the likelihood that we're going to sell these, because I think for many years, Printed Matter acts as an archive, it acts as a library, it acts as a fair organizer, but my role as the bookshop manager is to sell books. And I've heard from a lot of artists talk about the concepts and ideas and theories behind the works that they're creating. My job is to make sure that I try and put those books in front of people's faces and convince them to buy them. Because as in probably many other metropolitan cities around the world, places are fighting many sort of market causes to stay in business, coming from an independent bookshop to which was a for-profit entity to a not-for-profit, where we still have many of the same considerations. It's an everyday battle to focus attention on what we do and focus attention on the wonderful publications that we try and represent. So when people submit their book, I hope that they feel confident that we're going to thoroughly review it and notify you. And if we do take it on, we're going to do our best to sell it. We want to sell through the edition. We want to continue to reorder the book as it sells. We want to take them to fairs. We want to make them available in our shop. We want to make sure when people order stuff, they get it quickly. just a little bit more about our flagship shop. We do exhibitions within our space. And we do host events, artist talks, signings, presentations, performances. Our storefront windows is another opportunity to showcase the work of publishers. And so we will commission artists to create site-specific window installations to speak to people on the street. Another way to sort of show the sort of variety of work that that artists are doing. And so, and it's something that, like, hopefully, aside from like a store window with books, it's something that we want to, you know, equate the book as an artwork and more traditional forms of art. Just a shot of our store. We do our annual inventory once a year. We have about 40,000 unique titles within our store. So everything from accordion books to zines to flip books to more traditional, like hardcover, cloth-bound books, rare and out of print, etc. And so these are the kinds of people that we love to see in our store, who are the ones that are going to sit there, and like this whole row that you see is zines, alphabetically oriented and oftentimes partitioned off by like prolific publishers. And, you know, we see young kids come into the store and we'll sit there on the floor for hours going through all of these zines. And for us, like, that's, you know, we have, after being around for so long, since 1976, we have many generations of people that follow the store and what we do. So people from conceptual artists from the 60s and 70s to people from the pictures generation from the 80s to punks and activists and people like that from practically every generation, all seeing that it's possible to come in, make a book, bring it to the shop, and then have us sell it. This is a really terrible screen grab of the orders that we pack every day. So everything of those 40,000+ publications that we have in stock, they're all available online. And we're sort of, we're fighting against the expectations of people when they place orders now, that they get them immediately, and then they get them in perfect condition and all that kind of stuff. And so we do take that responsibility and practice very seriously too, because we realize, like, any bad experience that people have, whether it's in the store or oftentimes people follow us on social media or through our web shop, you know, those are all opportunities for us to succeed or fail. And we want to, you know, we want to engender ourselves and build loyalty by the quality of our work. So I would, you know, stress to anybody that's interested in artist books to take a look at our site, visit one of our fairs, talk to me after this, follow us on Instagram. We try and use all the tools that we can as a small group. I will say that, you know, in 2010, I think we had 7 full-time employees. In 2020, we have 16. So we're growing, which is funny to say, but we are in New York City selling artist books from, you know, $2 to some of the, you know, rare and outrageous ones, thousands of dollars, and people can sort of draw a through line between, you know, those books that were, you know, modestly priced in the 70s that are now collector's items to the things that contemporary artists are producing now that are artworks that are beautiful, that have value, but that's not what it's about. It's about finding things that you love, and that's why, you know, we're all a part of this organization. And then I just want to say thank you to the organizers and to the panelists and everybody that's spoken today. It's been, I arrived yesterday evening. I've spent my entire day here, and it's a beautiful space, and it's a really thoughtful exhibition, and it's something that I think also, like, gives weight to the practice of making books. So thank you.
Thanks, Craig. I want to go to the submission process, and I think I read that it's over 30,000 titles a year that you're distributing.
That's correct. I mean, that's what we have in our, in our stock. So,
Okay.
so in the store we have, like close
But how
to 40.
selective is it? Because I know how it started with a group of artists who
Sure.
wanted to they were conceptualists as
Sure.
well. They were looking at it as non-traditional, as radical, as all that, and then they became board members, and and now there's the commercial arm, as you mentioned, which is the bookstore, but it's a non-for-profit organization. So how do you remain sustainable and at the same time keep it open to every creative idea that comes to you,
Sure.
or
I
something?
mean, so I would say we probably get anywhere from 3 to 8 submissions a day through the mail or dropped off. So quite a few publications, and we have a 3-person committee that reviews books probably every 3 to 4 weeks, and they'll go through maybe 100 at a time. And I think perhaps in the past, prior to my arrival, different echelons of managers and sort of curatorial sort of oversight of that process maybe lent itself to things that were just totally impractical. They were artworks pure and simple, and like they could be oversized, they could be floppy, they could be like bound in strange ways, they could have a million pieces, they could be totally dense and impossible to understand at a glance.
They come to you in physical form, and then you have to deal with the...
And so, and some of those things, may have sold well, and some of them, I mean, we have publications from the 70s,
I know.
that are still the same price as they were in the 70s, and like maybe a curator or someone like that will, do an exhibition on somebody, and they'll be the one that orders that old title. But for me, as the practical speaking bookshop manager, like, we don't have enough space to just continue to absorb things and not sell them. So there is that aspect too, and I would say of the percentage of publications that we get through the open submission program, I would say probably less than 10% of them we accept.
Really?
So it's a I think people may come in the store and think like, oh, you guys just will take anything,
Just because you're that big.
Because
yeah.
we've been around for so
Yeah.
long, and because we have so many titles in stock.
Yeah.
But there is a process, and a part of that process is the simple fact of is there an audience for those books, even as kind of strange and unique as some of the things that we carry are. We are thinking of that.
And how wide is the distribution network? Like how?
We have a few partners for our own publications. We partner with a UK distributor called N10 that distributes printed matter published titles. Another one called, and that's for UK and Europe. And then we have another partner called Perimeter that distributes for Asia and Australia. And then we do the rest. So I mean, we're contacting independent bookstores, just like probably many of you are as well, putting together PDFs, forwarding links, doing follow-up emails, sending out wholesale terms, chase. I mean, for us, like we sell them, period. We don't, in the regular, I guess, publishing industry, they would sell and accept returns. We don't accept returns. So, once we sell them at wholesale, but that's it. We also print in small, in small quantities. So not 10,000, like maybe like 1,000, or maybe 500 if it's like an emerging artist type of book,
And you have some rare editions as well.
We do. So, so the Ed Riche's and Baldassari's and, those types of books that, have come and gone from our collection, maybe as new books in the 70s, and have come back from like vintage or antiquarian dealers that consign things to us. But we will, see these treasures come in and out of the shop, and we are visited by institutions and libraries and museums and private collectors.
Yeah, there are collectibles as well. Yeah, there's everything from $9 to like, I don't know, 30,000 or even more.
Yeah, I mean, in the greater contemporary art world, where people are sort of speculating on the value of things, like books have, not to put it in that way, but they do have value.
Yeah.
They're not, but again, you can look at it one way. You can, we try and always look at it the other way, the artistic merit of those publications versus I think this person is like gonna pop and I'm gonna buy like 10 of these,
Yeah, but it is an object.
Yeah.
Still an object, yeah. an art object. Thank you. Sylvie.
Yes. Well, hi, I am Sylvie Boulanger, and I run an art space located in Paris. And I have the chance to end the symposium. So thank you very much for these 2 days. It was just amazing to meet you and to meet all these independent publishers. It seems that we are quite all the same all over the world and specialized on making what we love and what we like, even if we don't sell things. And so thank you for all these meetings. Cneai is an art space we decided to be dedicated to publishing. And we were not obliged to do that, but at the beginning, when we created the art center, we decided to work on break down the standard or the model of contemporary art, of the diffusion of contemporary art, in order to give the artist, to let the artist free to invent new standards and new models, to create new shapes, which would not be like marketing shape or like commercial shape of artwork or institutional shape of artwork. If I ask you what is an artwork, you would tell me that it's a unique object and a signed object. So we worked on all that kind of practice who can produce objects which are not unique, which are not signed, and which are created from the very beginning by the artist and by the independent publishers to be spread out, to be diffused in a large way. So it's why we decided to publish, to be a publisher also, and but also to ask to the artists to create projects in different versions, to be able to be diffused. So exhibition as well as a book, as well as performances, or research laboratory, or residencies. So we create a boat. We built a boat with designers Brolex Brothers to get a residency for artists and publishers and curators and academics to work together. And this is a point to create each time communities around the artistic project. So this is one way to diffuse books. It's to create community co-publishers to disperse the production, to disperse the co-productions, and at the same time to program events and to program different shapes of diffusion, to sell the books and to propose the work of the artist. So at the same time, we program exhibitions, we program residencies, we program research, and we publish. At the same level, it's like if the publishing practice was rose to the artistic practice exactly at the same level. So, for instance, you can see a few, even there, we used to say that we never work alone, we never sign, we don't want to sign, to be alone, to sign a project, to be the alone publisher, for instance. And so we work with a lot of partnership in France and out of France. And it's why we created also 3 collections to be able to buy books and to deal with other art spaces and other publishers and universities to build these 3 collections. So we've made 3 collections, 1 collection of multiples and prints, 1 of models in architecture by Jonna Friedman, and 1 of ephemeras, what we call ephemeras, so artist books and records and sounds and fanzine and so on. So this collection is included about 12,000 pieces, which is not enormous because I think you you know that. And after I can answer to questions. Or,
yeah, sure. Thank you. I liked what you were saying about diffusion. And I was thinking about how in all of the cases today, in all of the panels, it's kind of giving the artist a bit more ownership over the production. Because when an artist has a show, I mean, the production is so much in the hands of other people as well. The creation is in the hands of the artist, but with these kinds of publishing projects, the artist becomes more involved. But in terms of what you were saying about these parallel practices, art practices that you do at your center, can you tell us a bit more about Iconotext, which is a digital platform as far as I understood, and it's also a publishing platform, and it's probably the more accessible and more widely available than the other collections that are more archival in a sense. So maybe you could say something about that to close.
We created several common source project, open source project, and included Iconotext, including for instance, a museum without building also. Iconotext is an application that you can use for free just to publish books in 1 hour, for instance. So this is on the website, and you can overload. Yes.
Upload, yeah.
Upload. You can upload it and make a book, and then to send to Lulu, the print on demand Lulu, and then get the book 2 days after at home. So this was a way to. It was quite pedagogic to say, okay, no way with graphic designer. We've made the graphic design by graphic designers, so it's quite nice, it's straight, it's nice. And so you can really focus on the content of the text, of the pictures, and publish in your own, and also diffuse by Lulu. Another example is, for instance, the Museum Without Building that we made in New York this summer. We decided to propose in New York to several spaces to make a joint venture on a project that would be exhibited in 4 spaces. One in the garden. The city of New York gave us a garden. And one in the architecture center in New York, and one in 2 private foundations. And so we were able to invite artists, between 10 and 15 artists, to decide from a menu. It was like a menu, and each artist could decide to make a performance there, and work, outside work here in the street, or a conference, or contribute to the exhibition. And so all the artists contribute to different version, different shape of the work, and at the same time, all the books, the version in books, were sold, and very well sold. So we sold everything in 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, that also brings me back to the fact that ephemera are still really highly valuable. I just came back from the Dhaka Art Summit, and there's so much art to see, but people are lingering on the few artist books that are there, the papers that you can take away. even if they're not being sold, but people do like to take something away and to read it after, to have the luxury to read it. Even though it's an era of fast production, online images, there's still value in the print, I think. I'm a diehard print fan anyway, but I mean, ephemera is really something that remains as a trace of exhibitions, and I think there is still a market for that. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. Gonna.
There's a market for it.
Yeah, but we don't know if there is only one market. There is a market for the book, but there is also a market for the. Yeah, we said the friendship. The market for the. To meet people, to meet other independent publishers, because we organize also a fair, art book fair, whose name MAD, Multiple Art Days, in next September, where you are all invited. And it happens that people comes to this art fair just to meet each other also, and to deal with each other. It's like a family. They always say that when we organize talks, and they always say, yeah, we want to come there because we love all the people that are around us. So this is another market. We can't say market, but it's a way of life that we decided all to build or to have. And I think there is a third market. It's bibliothèque. Comment c'est?
Library.
Library.
Yeah.
Library, but not institutional library. But often we don't sell one book. We sell 100 books or 50 books. Just to begin like a work, like a selection. I saw in this marvelous exhibition here that you exhibited the selection of an artist. And so this is books, but more than books. It's a selection, and it's like a phrase, This is written something when you have several books. And several books is another object, than one book. And this is also a market. More and more we are focused on selling several books together.
Like a series as well.
To museums and to private foundations or to collectors.
Okay, shall we open it up? Any questions? Comments? No? Yes? No? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. All of that.